Hey, fellow babies. Welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. I hope you're watching real time as a Patreon patron. If you are, thank you very much for your support. Also, our YouTube subscribers are getting this real time, so if you're subscribing there, great. And if you are an Amazon Prime member, you can link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. There's instructions in the show description below. That will get us paid and cost you nothing. It's one of the perks that Amazon gives you for being a Prime member. So please try to check that out. If you haven't done it in a couple months, renew it, because we get paid every time you renew that and every time you watch. So would appreciate it. If you have no inclination to support Shane in producing this content, then you're getting this a week late or later, and it serves you right. Follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. From Patreon, from the champ. Nintendo has confirmed that the new Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom, will cost $70. It's the first time a Nintendo Switch game will cost that much. Other Nintendo games releasing later in the year staying at $60. Nintendo's games are generally behind the technology curve compared to other $70 games. Plus, its games generally have less voice acting and other expenses as well. Why do you think Nintendo has increased the price just for Zelda? Is it justified? Will it ultimately help the game generate more revenue? If it does, will Nintendo increase the price for all its games? They're charging what the market will bear, so it's a profit deal. That's what it is. The cost of making the game is irrelevant, so I can't imagine that you ever looked at a movie ticket and said, no, wait a minute, if I go see Top Gun or Avatar, I'm paying the same ticket price if I go see, a romantic comedy. No, the romantic...
I think that I don't go to see romantic comedies in the theater.
But you could.
I only go to see big...
But if you do, it's $10. It's the same price. You can go see Avatar this weekend. It's still in theaters for $10. You can go see, I don't even know what's out this week. You can go see new release. There's a couple of horror movies out that cost, a tenth as much as Avatar, $10. And that's just what it is. So they're not charging you for the content. They're charging you for the seat and for the experience. Nintendo, the cost of making the game, especially like Zelda, you think about, let's say the cost of making Call of Duty versus the cost of making Zelda, because they're probably pretty fair comparison. Call of Duty is 200 people for 3 years, so $60 million to make the game, and they sell 30 million copies of it. Zelda's this one is probably actually comparable to Call of Duty in terms of the cost. And Call of Duty charges $70. So no, I think this is Nintendo saying the market will bear that. I wouldn't get into stuff like the voice actor cost, because it's peanuts. In the scheme of game development, all the voice acting combined is maybe $1 million of the $60 or $80 million it costs to make a game. So it's really not that. It's the market. And yes, if they can get 70, they'll charge 70. Nintendo, is a for-profit company. They actually make a lot of money in the West because the yen has been pretty weak and the dollar's been pretty strong, and the euro versus the yen's been strong. So they make more money. The recession, whatever it is, the downturn in the economies in Europe especially have limited sales. You're seeing demand for the Switch slow, so they're trying to get the money they can get, and I don't blame them. And to be honest, games were $50 back in 1995 with the PS1, and so here we are, 28 years later, and games are 70. That's just not out of line. Inflation, that's about 1.5% inflation a year. 40% lift in the cost of games. That's about right. So no, I don't think that Nintendo is doing anything more than operating the business at a profit. Yes, they will increase the price of other games if the 70 works on Zelda. Is it justified? If you're willing to pay it, it's justified. If you boycott, if you look at Nintendo the way you look at J.K. Rowling and say, I don't like them, they're trying to gouge me, that's fine. But Zelda's a pretty good game. It's a pretty rich, deep game. I enjoy it. It's got replayability. I actually played Breath of the Wild the second time, and figured out how to get that glider early and just sail across everything just to get to the final boss battle because it was fun. Anyway, there's all sorts of you can do in these games. So I think if they sell it for 70 instead of 60, yes, they're going to make 16% more revenue. I doubt that the They call it price elasticity. The impact on demand from raising price is, if it were 1 and you raise price 16%, you'd sell 16% fewer units. I would say the price elasticity on this is less than 1, meaning if you raise the price by 16%, you sell only 5% fewer units or something. And that means they will make more revenue, yes. So yes, I think it's justified. Yes, I think you'll pay it. Yes, I think they'll make more revenue, and yes, I think they'll increase the price of all games. I think 70 might be the new 60. It might take a year or two. The limiting factor for that is that as you see more games go to 70, you're more likely to join something like Game Pass. And Game Pass becomes an even better value, when you realize you can play games. And if Microsoft could get away with charging $20 a month instead of 15 on Game Pass, that'd be more money they could share with the publishers. But I think if publishers see that their games have a shorter life and they're selling fewer units, they're going to be more likely to license to Game Pass a year later or 2 years later. So it'd be really interesting to see. I was looking at Amazon Luna titles, and they had stuff like Saints Row the Third, which I believe came out in 2011. But that was like one of their new titles, and it's widely available for $10 on console and for like $250 on PC. Why would you sign up for Amazon Luna for $100 a year when you can buy the game for $250? Like, what's the point? So it's going to be tough for these guys, to monetize if they raise the price to 70 and they don't cut the price quickly thereafter. We'll see, but I think you're going to see streaming services start competing and bidding for these titles. Thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor this week. If you are a Patreon patron, we very, very much appreciate it. If you are a YouTube subscriber, thank you. If you are neither, but you have remembered to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account, we're getting paid, so thank you. And if you're none of those things, then at a minimum, follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. See you next time.